Hello, everyone. Welcome back to this epic arc. As if you are here, I hope you've watched the last video. If you didn't, please do because you will not understand what's happening. Okay, maybe that doesn't matter, but for me it does. I'm very picky about that stuff. Anyways, that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to react to IMR Scary Tales 3 Scary Stalker Horror Stories Animated. And if you saw my first video, you would know these are going to be scary. You don't like blood, watch. All right? That's the best way I can explain it. Anyways, let us get into the video, and I hope you enjoy it. So, story number 2.
My parents.
Oh, wow, that's loud music. But first, what is it called? Because he didn't label it. This is in the description, so show more. Okay, number 2 is Childhood Stalker. I don't like that, but let's watch it.
Parents were overprotective of me when I was young. I couldn't really blame them though. For as long as I can remember, I've had only one eye, and a good portion of my left face was covered in burn marks.
Oh.
According to my parents, I got them when I was still just a baby during a house fire in a different town. I can't remember any of it myself. I guessed that my near-death experience as a baby must have made my parents overprotective of me. They never let me go outside on my own, and when I did go outside under their supervision, they would always make me cover my burnt face under a hood or a hat. I wasn't even allowed to go to school since they were afraid I'd get picked on by the other kids for my appearance.
I guess she does. Oh, yeah, homeschooling.
Because of that.
Oh my god, look at the mug. Alright, it's backwards for IMR. Shoutouts to you for making this story. It's pretty interesting so far, and for a bunch of other stories.
Mother had homeschooled me since I was old enough to speak. For a long time, I did everything they told me to, like the obedient daughter they wanted me to be. But like most kids, I got more and more rebellious as I got older.
Oh.
When I was about 12, I started sneaking out of my house when my parents were at work or asleep.
Okay, well, here's what I think is going to happen. This is just a prediction. I think she's going to go out one day. She's going to find some guy who's stalking her, and then her parents are going to say, this man has been stalking you your entire life. Hence, the story is called The Childhood Stalker. All right?
Not to smoke or drink or anything. For the most part, all I did was take walks in the park to take in the fresh air.
Good.
Since my dad worked the night shift and my mom liked to sleep early, the only times I could sneak out were during night and late evening. I didn't mind though. I was happy for a chance to get out of the house without my parents watching my every move. Back then, I was blissfully still unaware that there were terrible people in the world who wouldn't hesitate to take advantage of.
Wish you knew that before you went out in the dark, because that is your first mistake, and this is also an IMR scary tale. So that's another mistake that you've made, going out at night during a scary story. That is the one thing you do not do.
Even a little girl. As you can imagine, some people in town started gossiping about a little girl with a scarred face walking around a mostly empty park in the middle of the night. I'm pretty sure I became an urban legend amongst the kids and teenagers too. Looking back, that must have played a factor in what would later happen.
Oh.
It all started during one of my nightly walks. I was strolling through the local park with the blue hood of my jacket pulled over my face like I had 100 times before. The flickering lights of the neglected street lamps meant to illuminate the trail gave me just enough light for me to see ahead with my one eye, though I still had to be careful not to bump into anything. I strolled through the darkness with only the crickets and the katydids to keep me company. Listening to their shrill cries resonating through the cold night air
Please do
gave
not
me
show your logo. Cover your eyes, people. I mean, no harm to the original creator of whoever made this. I assure you it's probably a good game. I mean, you have enough money to advertise, you probably had enough money to make a good game, but I'm just saying, if you want, sponsor me, please. Anyways, I may not edit this part out. Continue.
Sense of freedom that I could never get cooped up in my parents' house.
Right.
It almost distracted me enough to not notice that I was followed. Having lived most of my life with only one eye, my sense of hearing had to compensate for it by being sharper than most. From the sea of nocturnal noises around me, I was able to pick out what sounded like footsteps on the cobblestone
Oh, who's
behind
that
me.
gonna be?
The sounds
Last time we got discount Sandrina. Who's this one gonna be?
seemed to be trying to mask itself by matching my own footsteps, and it was doing a pretty damn good job at it too. Every time I took a step forward, I heard the sound echo ever so faintly behind me. I doubt anyone without an unusually sharp sense of hearing like mine would have heard it. I decided to test my suspicion by stopping halfway through a step to throw my follower out of sync with me. I froze right before my foot could touch the ground and make a noise. The moment I did, I heard a single footstep ring out behind me. Although it was barely audible amongst the ambient noises, to me, it might as well have been a deafening danger siren.
Ooh,
My heartbeat
that's
skyrocketed,
not
and I
good.
broke into
That's
a
not
sudden
good.
sprint, not even bothering to look back. I was somewhat relieved when I didn't hear anyone running after me from behind. Still,
Then again,
I ran like a bat out of hell back home just in case.
I would too.
When I got home, I snuck back inside through my bedroom window and locked both it and my bedroom door. Once I'd calmed down enough, I tried to convince myself that the person following me was just someone curious about the urban legend of the ghost girl with a burnt face and not something much worse. That night, I stayed up watching the window until I saw my father's car pull into the house.
Thought that was a stranger.
Seeing his car set my mind at ease. Even if the person from the park followed me home, I knew that my father would keep me safe as
Please
long
don't
as
tell
he
me
was around.
Please don't tell me
I was
that.
homeschooled by
Please don't tell me that the guy following her was like a stowaway in his trunk and he was like hiding in there.
my mom the next day while my dad watched the TV.
So
It was a lesson in mathematics or something equally boring. I struggled to stay up, especially after having little to no sleep the night before. My mother was quick to notice and asked if I was all right. I'm fine, I told her while I was also stifling a yawn. You don't look fine to me. She closed the math textbook and patted me on the back. Go get some rest, sweetie. I'll fix you something to eat. Thanks, Mom, I said with a smile. I trudged up to my bedroom and got ready for a midday nap. But before I let my head hit the pillow, I went to my window to close the curtains. When I did, I saw something that sent chills down my
that's a
spine.
gasp for me.
A man was standing, half hidden behind the fence. He looked like a normal guy in his 30s, wearing clean but drabbily colored clothes.
He looks like he's wearing
However,
pajamas.
The fact that he was staring straight at me was enough to make me sweat. I closed the curtains and huddled up in my bed, hoping that he'll go away soon.
Oh,
I heard the sound of a doorbell come from downstairs only seconds later. I peeked through the curtains despite myself.
please don't tell me
I
it's him.
saw the man who'd been watching me,
Oh, no.
waiting right at the front
It's
door.
the pajama guy.
The door opened, and my father stepped outside to talk to him. I couldn't tell what they were talking about, but the longer the conversation got, the more and more angry my father seemed. Without any warning, my father punched the man in the face.
Oh.
The man fell on the ground, and my father kept pummeling him again and again.
I think I know what it is. Maybe that guy was apologizing for I guess being a stalker of her childhood, and now the father was taken into action. Just like a little moment in Intruders Hide and Seek. You don't know what that game is? I'm not gonna spoil what happens.
Until his face was a black and blue mess dripping with blood. Though he might have been my stalker, I couldn't bear to see someone get beaten so badly. I closed the curtains and curled up on my bed with tears in my eyes. Moments later, I heard my father knock on my bedroom door. Sweetie, we have to go now, he told me with panic in his voice.
Oh,
I didn't think to
that's
question
not
him
good.
and quickly followed him out of the house and into the car, past my unconscious stalker lying on the porch.
Ooh,
My
what
mother joined us in
happened?
the car, and soon we were speeding out of the neighborhood. I wanted to ask where we were going, but the distress on my parents' faces told me that they probably didn't know either. Not long after we left, I noticed the car following us from the backseat window. I'd never seen the car before.
Oh my
But I could-
god! Why does his eye look like a wedding ring box? And why did. Oh my god, that is a huge black eye. He looks. Oh my god. He only has one tooth now. He looks like a rabbit. Eh. What's up, Doc? It's a crab pen, not even a carrot.
See the bruised face of my stalker behind the wheel. His left eye was swollen shut, and blood trickled from his nose and the corners of his lips.
Yeah, I can see
My
that.
eyes were fixed on him when the car came to a sudden stop. I turned around to see what made us stop. Relief washed over me when I saw a barricade of police cars in front of us. But when I looked at my parents, their faces.
Wait a minute. I think I just thought of something. What if that guy is her father and the police are actually going for her parents because they kidnapped her? I don't know. I've seen a story like that before on this channel, so it could be possible.
Did not share my relief. Instead, they seemed frightened and on the verge of panic.
I knew it.
Before I could ask what was wrong, they both jumped out of the car and ran, only to be apprehended and cuffed by the police officers. Everything was a blur after that. My parents and I were taken to the station in police cars. My supposed stalker was taken there as well. But unlike my parents, he wasn't being cuffed. Once we were at the station, I finally got an answer to what the hell was going on and why on earth my stalker wasn't arrested while my parents were. A sympathetic police officer explained everything to me while I listened to him in silent shock. 12 years ago, an unsolved case of arson caused a house fire that claimed the lives of a young family. The charred bodies of the parents were found in the smoldering wreckage, but their infant daughter was nowhere to be found. That infant daughter was me. My real parents had died in the same house fire that took my left eye and burnt my face. The people who I thought were my parents were actually my kidnappers. Kidnappers who had gotten away with their crimes for over a decade. Police suspected that they might have been the arsonists who started the fire that claimed my real parents' lives in the first place, all because they wanted a child of their own but couldn't have one due to medical reasons. My stalker was actually a private investigator, hired by my real uncle to find me when everyone else thought I died in the fire.
Oh.
I now live with my uncle. He is a kind man, and he does his best to care for me by himself. However, I can't help but wonder if my life would have been better had I never learned the truth about my family.
Interesting.
Hey, wanna play some video games? I know I do. I haven't seen the sun in years.
It's the Senor Palo guy. Palo guy. Okay, I think we do have enough time for the last story. What is it called? Want to make this quick. It's called Clingy. I could see where this is going, but let's see.
I used to date a really clingy girl. She said that she was just being protective of me while we were dating, but I didn't really see it that way. She'd text me every night asking me about my day or how I was doing, and if I didn't reply right away, she started guilt-tripping me to call her back.
Oh.
It was kind of cute at first, but after a while, it started to feel overbearing. We eventually broke up after almost a year of dating. She seemed to take it pretty well, though we were quiet whenever we ran into each other during class or out in the town.
It's this
One day, I found out that she got a part-time job
Probably
at the
didn't
cafe I
even
like to study at during the weekend.
Oh, that was random.
She made my coffee exactly the way she knew I liked it, and we started talking again. The awkward post-breakup tension between us melted away every time I visited the cafe. She even made sure to save a blueberry muffin for me on days she knew I'd visit.
Oh, that's sweet.
Soon, we were talking with each other like normal friends again. I couldn't be happy.
That's nice.
For a time, I even felt like we had a chance of getting back together after all. That feeling wouldn't last, though. My sister came to visit one weekend. We hadn't seen each other since we went to different colleges, so we were looking forward to catching up. We decided to get some pizza together at an Italian restaurant right across the cafe my girlfriend worked at. The waitress led us to an open-air, two-person table on the second floor beside the fenced ledge. It looked like the sort of seat you take your date to for a romantic view. There was even a rose in a vase decorating the table. I swear, I saw the waitress smirk when she showed us the table too. She must have thought that my sister and I were a couple.
Oh, no.
Which, fair enough, we didn't really look like each other.
I do not like where this is going. I think she has something to do with the ex-girlfriend who is going to have some sort of stalkerish vibes in this story.
Despite having the same parents. I took after our dad, while she looked more like our mom. Neither of us bothered to correct her, though. If they were going to give us special treatment just because they thought we were a couple, then we weren't about to complain. Not long after we sat down, I got a text on my phone. I looked at it and saw that it was my ex asking me how I was doing. We'd been texting again as of late anyway, so I didn't think much of it. Hey, no texting at the table, my sister said in jest, just as I was about to type back a reply. If you don't pay attention to your food, the flies will eat them.
Why does your phone have 4 cameras? What is this, like the iPhone 17? Or maybe it's like a different type of phone. I don't know because I'm an iPhone kind of person, and from what I know, I think there's a phone maybe with four cameras, but I may just be tripping out. So I don't know. Tell me maybe in the comments if this video gets popular enough.
She used the exact same words our mom did whenever either of us checked our phones during dinner. Even got the inflections in her voice down too. Of course, I was a little annoyed that my younger sister was trying to boss me around, but she had a point. I quickly replied to my ex saying that I'll text her back later and turned off my phone.
That's a good
My sister and I
move.
talked for over 2 hours about how we were doing in college.
Oh,
When I told her that I was single again, she said she had a few female friends in her own college that were still single.
huh.
She went as far as to offer me their numbers. I wasn't all that interested, but decided to humor my sister anyway, to make her feel helpful more than anything else.
All right.
I turned my phone back on to save the numbers. The moment I did, I was bombarded with notifications for
Wait a minute. Is she watching from the background and knew that you were like turning your phone back on? That's what I think happened. Also, how do you have 62 messages in like 2 minutes, in like 2 seconds? What is she like typing? Every single letter is a little text box, even the spaces and punctuation.
over 100 text messages and dozens of voicemails. Every single one
Wow.
of them were from my ex. The last text, sent almost a half hour ago, simply read, "Look down." I looked down from the ledge of the seat and felt my stomach churn in panic.
Oh,
Standing
oh,
on the
no,
streets
no.
below us was my ex-girlfriend, still wearing her barista uniform.
This is no
Her
good.
wide, bloodshot eyes stared
This is
right
no
at
good.
me and through me.
This
The
is
look on
no
her face
good.
was a horrifying mix between anger and batshit crazy. She held her phone in one hand.
By the way, not to change the subject, but she kind of looks like a discount animated version of one of the actors from Darman, if I'm not mistaken. I forgot her name. It's like starts with an M, I think. But either way, though, they look similar.
And in the
Sort
other,
of.
a long kitchen knife, gripped so tight
If she was
that her
animated
knuckles
and
were
had
white.
bloodshot
A
red
chill
eyes.
shot through my body as I showed the text to my sister. Her face went pale as she looked down over the ledge as well. The moment my sister's eyes met my ex's gaze turned from obsessive infatuation to burning hatred.
What did her?
She clenched her teeth so hard that I could have sworn blood seeped from her teeth.
What
Without
did she
warning,
do?
she threw the kitchen knife in her hand at my sister with surprising force.
Oh,
The tip of the blade clinked against the ledge fence and clattered back onto the ground. But it startled my sister enough that she fell out of her chair.
F in the chat. In the chat for our narrator's sister. I don't know why I did that.
That got the attention of a nearby waiter who
Good.
came over to help her up. We quickly explained the situation to him, and the police were immediately called. My ex-girlfriend was dragged, kicking and screaming into a police car. All the while, she shouted about how she and I belonged together and that the girl I was eating with didn't deserve me, not knowing that that girl was actually my sister. When the police searched her
Oh,
apartment
I see.
for more evidence of her stalking, they found hundreds of photos of me plastered on the walls. Some of them were from our time
Okay, now that's just an overreaction, but also, why does she look like she's dressed up like she's in the 80s? Just have to say that.
together, but many of them were of me by myself. There were pictures of me studying at the cafe or walking home alone,
Now, how did you
all
get
taken
those?
without me ever noticing. In the corner of the apartment was a small shrine with a framed picture of us when we were together, surrounded by the empty cups of every coffee I'd ever ordered from her at the cafe.
Oh, I don't like
My
that.
sister is still traumatized about the whole thing, but she's been getting the help she needed. And despite everything that's happened, I hope that my ex will get the help she needs now too.
Oh. So yeah, that was the end of our great I Am More Scary Tales adventure. In my opinion, he makes really good stories, so I recommend checking some of these other videos out too, and subscribing to his channel. I mean, I'm gonna need an account, which I will build after this video, but hopefully you enjoyed this. Subscribe. I am very friendly. But in all seriousness, if you enjoyed it, like and subscribe. I'm not forcing you to, but so yeah, I hope you enjoyed my first video series, I guess. But yeah, so I will see you hopefully if this video goes up in the next video. Goodbye.